Hello. So, I am going to talk a little bit about nutrition during pregnancy and what is optimal for fetal development. Um, where I work at the birth center that I work at, we talk to clients a little bit each visit. We have like templates laid out that helps guide our conversations, which I really like because that helps kind of like with the prenatal care plan. So at the first visit, we like to go over a prenatal vitamin. Is very important. There's all of the different vitamins and nutrients that you need to get, like iron, 27 milligrams a day. Folate is very important for neural tube development, 400 micrograms a day. I prefer folate versus folic acid, just because so many people have the MTHFR gene mutation, and folate is easier. But regardless, calcium about 1,000 milligrams a day, and then vitamin D between 400 and 600 IUs a day. Here we live in the desert, and even here most people are vitamin D deficient because we are not outdoors a lot, even though we live in a place where there's a lot of sunshine. So common misconception is that we live in an area where there's so much sunshine, we should all be getting vitamin D, which is not true. So it may be necessary to supplement those. So in the first visit, I like to go over the prenatal vitamin and how important that is, and also the fact that there's some things to avoid: unpasteurized foods, unpasteurized milk, juice, too much fish with mercury, and then raw fish, things like that. Those all need to be avoided. I like to go over that in the first visit. Limit sugar intake, empty calories, no alcohol, avoiding cold lunch meat. It needs to be heated for toximosis, I think is what it is. And then limiting caffeine. A lot of people, I feel like, especially nowadays, are drinking more and more caffeine. And during pregnancy, it's best to have less than 200 milligrams per day, which is like the equivalent of 2 cups of coffee. So if you're a regular coffee drinker in the morning, that's totally fine to still have your 1 cup of coffee. And then more toward the second trimester, when we go into talking about, in the first visit also, like, if we could talk a little bit about diet and discuss how the client feels like their diet is, and if they are confident in telling me that I'm a super clean eater and we eat this, that, and the other, and we avoid, or I know what to avoid and all that, then the diet diary may not be necessary. But if not, the diary could be a useful tool to give out in that first visit. That way, the next time that they come in, if they've logged a few days worth of what they've eaten, we could go over that and kind of guide them in a little bit of, gently guide them into a better nutrition. Maybe in the second visit, I think it would be better to discuss like all of the exact, just to avoid information overload. And also, I think a lot of people are usually nauseous in the first trimester, so it's a little bit harder to get in all of those, everything that's necessary in a pregnancy diet. So in the second visit, I think it'd be a little bit easier to go over your all of the necessary nutrition, such as like vegetables. We need to get 4 servings a day, and really eating a rainbow of colors of vegetables. Fruits, 2 cups a day. Dairy, and we'd like to get 3 to 4 cups to get that 1,000 milligrams of calcium. about 70-ish grams of protein, which is or 5 to 6 ounces. And for vegetarians, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be meat. Beans, peanuts, peanut butter, nut butters, tofu, those are all good sources of protein that are acceptable also. And then healthy fats, avocado, avocado oil, coconut oil, all of the oils are good fats to incorporate in diet, but you don't want to have too much of that. Grains, carbohydrates, those are the bulk of your diet, and need to be, as much as possible, whole grains. And then as far as hydration, most sources say about 3 liters of water a day. It's easiest to just say try to get in a gallon a day. If you have a specific cup or bottle that you like to use, you can just calculate how many of those do I have to have in one day to complete a gallon of water. So for instance, I have one that is 64 ounces. It's a big jug. It's about this big. So I know I just need to get 2 of those in to complete my gallon for the day. So I try to have the first bottle down by like 1 p.m. and then I just work on the second one for the second half of the day. So that's just my goal of the day, is like drink as much as I can in the morning. And then fruit juice, like if you decide to drink some fruit juice that has a lot of sugar in it, but it's also good for you. Whole fruits are better than fruit juice, but if you do drink that, kind of limits the amounts just because of the sugar content. Toward the 28-week mark is when we do our blood glucose tolerance test or screen. Where I work, we do jelly beans. We don't do the glucose drinks, so it's a sugar rush, but it's still 50 grams of sugar. I think that would be an optimal time to start talking more about like reducing sugar intake in the 3rd trimester. Most people know, and if they don't, then we can discuss that about how in the 3rd trimester the baby gains the bulk of its weight, and we don't want to have a baby that's too big or a glucose intolerance. So reducing that sugar is optimal. So yeah, that's kind of how we do it where I work, and I like the way that that's kind of laid out, like kind of per trimester. And of course we take into account all different variations of diets and individual situations. Like vegetarians, we don't have very many, but we do have an occasional one. But typically those people do seem to know, how to get their protein in and things like that. So that's good. I really enjoy and encourage people to intuitively eat. So if they feel, if they need, when you're having a craving or something and you feel like you may need sugar, it may just be that you're actually lacking protein, and it may take some time to like intuitively learn what your body is actually asking for. So that's something that we can talk about, like in the 1st trimester, is kind of like the different cravings and things like that, and kind of what they mean and what your body's actually craving. So yeah, that's about all that I can think of for nutrition off the top of my head. I have some resources to link where you can check out. AmericanPregnancy.org, I think, is one of them that has some health and nutrition. And then the Mayo Clinic has some great information. The Natural Pregnancy book is a great recommendation for you to read. And I can link all those in this video. Thanks. Bye.